Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and people around the world. Welcome back to Going Umbral. Today, we are looking at the infested Juggernaut, Mr. Edge, and Bony Boy. We are looking at Mr. Nidus with his Umbral setup. Now, this is nothing surprising. We all know an Umbral Nidus is a force to be reckoned with. And that is exactly what Nidus is. You do not mess with a Nidus. So, jumping into his powers before we jump into mods, we have to discuss his passive first. If Nidus is killed with at least 15 stacks of mutation, those 15 stacks are consumed. This grants 5 seconds of invulnerability and restores health to 50%. Now, for those who are not very familiar with Nidus, you're probably asking, what is mutation? Well, mutation is a byproduct of using Nidus's first ability, which is called Virulence. Rupture the ground with a damaging fungal growth that steals energy from each enemy it strikes. For every 5 enemies hit, the infestation mutates, applying its destructive force. Essentially, what this means, the more enemies you hit with Virulence, you gain mutation stacks. A mutation stack. You gain 1 segment for every 1 enemy hit. So if you're hitting 5 enemies, you're getting 5 segments. As you slowly develop these mutation stacks, the power of Virulence will start to scale with your mutation stacks. So at 10 stacks, at least with my build, we get 3000 damage every time I use Virulence. Not only that, every time you hit more than 1 enemy, you are refunded a portion of your energy for every enemy you hit with Virulence. So as you can see here, we get 4 energy per refund for every enemy hit, which makes Nidus very energy efficient, especially with Hunter's Adrenaline. We have a drain of 16. If we hit 4 targets, we're getting 16 energy refund, which essentially means the cast is free. 350 damage with the modded setup. At base is 200, and the length of it 23 meters. His second power, Larva. Spawn an infested pod that erupts with tendrils, latches onto nearby enemies and pulls them in. This is your AoE. Think much like Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. You pop this out, you say, "Get over here!" The larva will then shoot out loads of tendrils and pull all the surrounding enemies in, grouping them up very nicely for Nidus to use Virulence on. It has a drain of 10, a radius of 17.4 meters, so a respectable radius, and a duration of 7 seconds, which, let's face it, if you're spamming Virulence, is more than enough to get at least a few stacks of mutation. Nidus's third power, Parasitic Link. Bind to a target with a Parasitic Link for allies. Both the host and Nidus deal increased damage. Linked enemies take the damage inflicted on Nidus. So for example, because we're going to be jumping into Sanctuary Onslaught shortly after this, if I was to link an enemy with Parasitic Link, do note it does cost 1 mutation stack every time you use this ability. So try not to spam it, it does have a pretty good duration on it. If I link an ally, say a companion or something, with my Parasitic Link, me and my companion are going to be doing increased damage. However, as you saw from the text there, if we link an enemy, all the damage that Nidus would originally take is then redirected to the linked target. which can be pretty nasty. It costs nothing to cast. It does cost 1 mutation stack, however. A duration of 67 seconds, at least with my build. Ally range of 58 meters. And then their damage is increased by 43.7%. An enemy range of 29 meters. And we get an 87.5% reduction. Damage reduction. Which already increases Nidus' innate tankiness. There's a reason Nidus is the infested Juggernaut. And finally, Nidus' final power, Ravenous. Gluttonous maggots swarm nearby enemies, feasting until they are hit with Virulence, and burst with infestation. The maggots benefit from mutation, and each enemy hit adds a mutation stack. Now, again, it doesn't cost any energy to drain. However, it does cost three mutation stacks to actually use it. The explosion radius. So essentially, what it's saying is when you cast Ravenous, you spawn these infested maggots. They will then run off, latch onto enemies. You can then use Virulence on the latched on targets to detonate said maggots. The explosion radius of those maggots is 5.8 meters, at least with my build. And we do 262 points of blast damage. Now Ravenous has an innate radius of 8 meters around Nidus. So essentially you summon a little patch of infestation which regenerates your health, allows you to get more stacks back, and deal damage when you no longer need the maggots. It is very, very potent ability. And of course, we have a 45-second duration on Ravenous. Now, getting into the mod setup with Nidus. For the aura, I'm using Growing Power, because I do like to use the Opticore with Nidus. I don't know, I've been having a lot more fun doing that. Again, we're using Power Drift for ability strength and the chance to resist knockdown. As you know, I hate being knocked down by anything. By scorpions, by ancient healers. I absolutely despise being knocked down in this game, because I know the second I get knocked down, I'm going to be mowed down. Constitution, 40% faster knockdown recovery, and 28% ability duration. This couples very well with Prime Continuity, to the fact that it helps offset fleeting expertise. So now we can spam our abilities and still have a fairly decent duration behind them. Adaptation is pretty much a must on all my builds now. I absolutely love this mod. When damaged, gain 9% resistance. Again, it can go up to about 11% resistance to a damage type for 18 seconds. Stacks up to 90%. So if you're taking 10 hits of puncture damage at 9% of proc, you're going to develop a resistance to that damage type very, very quickly. And Nidus is one of the 2 warframes that only have health as their only defense. Health and armor. So do take that into consideration. But Nidus, being much like Enos and only having base health, makes him a very, very good mandatory candidate for Hunter's Adrenaline, which essentially converts 45% of the damage on our health to our energy. So essentially, now we have unlimited energy. It's absolutely disgusting. Umbral Vitality and Umbral Intensify, because you know, it's an Umbral build, we need those Umbral mods in there. If I had enough mod space, I would try to fit in Umbral Fiber. However, without an Umbral Former, it does get a bit tricky. Anyway, we get 11.3% tower resistance. For those who don't know, tower resistance is essentially resistant to sentient based attacks. So as you're running Lure, and you're getting hit by sentient void beams, tower resistance helps you take less damage from those sentient void beams and sentient based attacks in general. As I said, Prime Continuity and Constitution to help offset excuse me, Fleet and Expertise, and we have Stretch for just that little bit of ability range. Not a lot, but a sizable amount, so our powers can help us out, you know. We do have an Arcane Grace on Nidus. I have it, I figured, hey, might as well use it. And as I said, I do like to use the Optical with Nidus, just for when I group up enemies and I'm comfortable with all my stacks. I just like to shoot my Optical into the group and just watch them all fly to every corner of the room. It's very fun to do. It's my build on the Optical. I do have a rhythm for it. I've been trying to re-roll it recently to try and get a better one, but RNG just does not want to bless me. And that about covers it for Nidus. So, as per usual, we are going into Sanctuary Onslaught to see exactly what this Juggernaut is capable of. I have very high hopes for Nidus. I was playtesting him not too long ago, and he performed very, very well. Hopefully, I can showcase that. Come on, Samaris, open up. Open, I says. Attaboy. So now, what we can do, use Larva. Oh, would help if I was actually in the right area. Start getting some stacks up. Now, you don't necessarily have to use Larva to get stacks. As you saw there, we have a decent enough range on our Virulence that we can still get stacks from enemies even without grouping them up. However, it's a lot more efficient just to group them up with Larva. Grab that efficiency. And as the rank rewards of Nidus, as you rank up Nidus, you'll notice Nidus does have passive health regen, which again helps him become the Juggernaut. As you can see, with 6 stacks we're doing 3,000 damage, 1,000 to 3,000 damage on our Virulence. Ideally you want to try and aim for 15 stacks within the first few parts of the mission. As you can see, these enemies can't even touch my health. It's going down, but it's going straight up thanks to Arcane Grace and the fact that Nidus has health regen. Let's link you. Get some more stacks of you. Come up. Mow them down. Remember, with every cast of our Virulence, we're actually getting energy back for every enemy we hit. Keep everybody up. And mow them down. That is a very satisfying feeling. Being just slam your foot down and know you're going to kill stuff. 5,000 damage. Absolutely superb. Now I believe every time you change zone in Sanctuary Onslaught, yeah, you lose 3 stacks. 4 stacks. You guys come over here, give my stacks back. Nidus is doing very well. With Titania, shortly after, before this, she was struggling in Zone 2. But Nidus, you know, he's putting his foot down. He's saying, I ain't having none of your shenanigans. Sit down, don't even try fight. There we go. As you see, I do like to spam Virulence and Larva quite a lot, just to gain my stacks up. Because what you have to consider is with every stack of mutation, for every 15 group stacks, and with every stack, essentially means if you die, Nidus is going to become immortal, as long as you can maintain that 15 stack threshold. So no matter how many times you go down, Nidus will enter undying, as long as you have those 15 stacks. Which I can see why loads of people flock towards Nidus for his power. He is pretty beastly. Very, very beastly. Nidus is one of those warframes I picked up originally, and honestly never really batted an eyelid, because obviously I had my frames, I knew who I enjoyed the most. But obviously, one of the perks about doing these Umbral builds, it allows me to experiment with warframes otherwise I would never try. That I'll just have, just for the bragging rights, saying, hey, I have these characters. This is what I do. But experimenting with these Umbral builds, they are quite fun to do. Very fun to do. I mean, at 30 stacks, look at this. 9,000 damage. And just prior to that, we were doing 15,000 damage. On a 1 ability. That is nuts.
I have opened a data conduit. Proceed immediately.
There we go. Right, screw all you guys up. And you get to the point with Nidus, that even though you're taking a lot of damage, again, you can just cast Larvae, and just mow down things with your wand. If you do get to the point where you do need help, you can cast your 4. And if you're going up against the wolf, as we all know, the wolf is a tanky boy, you can cast your 3 on an enemy that isn't the wolf, because he's not affected by power, warframe powers, and get that damage reduction, allowing you to face off against him. Plus, I love how the mutation stacks look with Nidus' Deluxe. I mean, let's just appreciate Nidus' Deluxe right now. Absolutely fantastic. By the time this Deluxe came out, I never really played Nidus very much, but I knew, my god, I had to have it. I just had to have it. It was one of those Deluxe skins that you just look at and go, yes, I need you in my life. Parasitic Link, we are taking a bit of damage here. There we go. Virulence going. Why are you not taking any damage? There we go. So my goal before we reach Zone 4 is at least get at least 55 stacks of mutation. Now you can't multiple cast Larva. You have to wait for the duration of Larva to fall off, or all the enemies within the Larva to die. It's something I probably should have. Right. So we're taking a lot of damage. Let's use Ravenous. Group them out.
Work
Get my
faster.
stacks back. Fantastic.
Enter the conduit.
What's going on, everybody? Right. So I'm going to demonstrate here. As you go into another fire bubbles, you do slowly start to lose your mutation. Which means nullifiers, if you see one, they must die. With extreme prejudice. Come on, group up everybody. 20,000 damage on a single cast ability. It's absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. Hey, don't you run away from me. Oh, I ran out of efficiency.
Some usable data, but I need more.
But we did reach Zone 4,
Return when you are ready to
albeit we didn't
subject
really
these
complete
data
it.
immortals to a
But
true
Nidus did very well. As you can see, he didn't die. He was able to hold his own. Group up enemies, crowd control, deal damage. Nidus is absolutely superb with an Umbral build. And I need to point out, my Umbral mods, and most of my mods, aren't even fully maxed out. Plus you can get the Umbral Former from this season of Nightwave, which can actually increase Nidus's overall power. Because then you can put an Umbral polarity in, you could fit in all 3 Umbral mods, adaptation, Hunter's Adrenaline, and some range and duration mods and power, and just turn Nidus into an absolute monster. Absolute monster. Plus, with his deluxe, look at that. Full stacks of mutation, he looks good doing what he does.
Excellent armaments.
If you've ever been on the fence about getting Nidus,
Covered in blood.
trust me,
Safe and sound.
he is well worth it. I believe you get Nidus's parts from... what is it? I believe it's Index. I could be wrong about that. But, anywho, he's well worth to pick up. I will see you all next time for more Going Umbral. Till then, ta-ta now.